Did you know that 1 in 5 Americans have a mental illness? Now imagine yourself in the 19th century with a mental illness, not having any means to treatment, or not even knowing what mental health really was at the time. Even to this day, there still is a stigma around mental health. Now, back to the 19th century, imagine all those people who had mental illness that could not be cared for. They had to be put somewhere, they had to be imprisoned. They would have all kinds of mistreatments. They would be housed along other criminals, people who were just awaiting trial, or anybody else that needed to be imprisoned at that time. They would be physically abused, sexually abused, chained, and even caged. Now, this would all start to change with one woman. Her name was Dorthea Dix. She was born in 1802. At first, she had a rough life. Her mom found herself having a mental illness, and her dad was an alcoholic. This would cause her to move away with a relative, and she would start her career as an educator. She would find herself during her career as an educator teaching in a jail in Massachusetts, where she would be teaching people with disabilities or mental illness. She would find their treatment to be disgusting and start to just become a social reformer and an advocate for these people. She would write her findings to legislation. She would even convince Congress to write a bill to put funds and lands aside for future mental health hospitals. Now, keeping in mind, this is a time that women can't even vote. Civil War would then happen during her lifetime, where she would find herself training to help for the war. She would then work her way up all the way to the superintendent of United States Army nurses. I mean, this woman did a lot during her lifetime, especially during the 19th century. When the Civil War ended, she would travel to other states, to other countries, just educating people on mental illness and documenting her findings of how these people were being treated. She would then die in 1887. By the time of her death, 32 hospitals for mental illness had been opened in the United States. She was an amazing advocate for the growth of mental health. She inspires me to this day because I am a nurse working in mental health, and she just is a great example of what we can do for our patients in mental health.